Hi, everyone, and welcome to the first day of Manomet's U360 Capstone competition. My name is Chris Boudreau. I'm Manomet's Donor Relations Manager. Thank you so much for joining us for this special event. If you're new to Manomet, we are a science-driven sustainability nonprofit. Since our beginnings in 1969, our programs have branched out far beyond our Plymouth, Massachusetts-based banding operation. With shorebird recovery and habitat management, forestry and climate science, fisheries, and more, Manomet has its foundation in science and works with many global partners to create a thriving future for us and for birds. In just a moment, I will turn things over to Laura Babb, who manages the U360 program, but I just wanted to mention a couple of quick things before we begin. At the bottom of your Zoom screen, you should see a box marked chat. If you don't see it, just use your mouse pointer to hover over the bottom and it should appear. At the conclusion of each presentation, you're welcome to use this chat box to cheer on the students or leave words of encouragement. Also, after the final student has presented and the judges leave for deliberations, you're welcome to stick around to chat with the students or ask any questions you may have. Finally, if you're unable to stay for the entirety of today's event, it is being recorded, and we'll share with you in a follow-up email a link where you can watch or share it. So again, thank you so much for joining us. Now I'd like to turn it over to Laura Babb, Manomet's U360 Program Manager.
Thank you so much, Chris, and thank you all for joining us today for our U360 virtual capstone competition. As the program manager for our U360 Business Sustainability Internship program, I've had the pleasure of spending the last 10 months working with the exceptional college students you'll meet over these 3 days. But before I introduce today's presenters to you and we start hearing their perspectives on sustainability, I'd like to take a few minutes to tell you more about U360 and exactly what they've done with us at Manomet this year. At Manomet, we believe that to solve the complex environmental, social, and economic challenges we face, the next generation must be actively engaged and trained to make our world more sustainable. They are the largest generation in history, and known as the climate change generation, they will be disproportionately impacted by today's global challenges. One primary way college students can be a part of the solution is through their future careers and workplaces. And students from all disciplines, not just environmental majors, must be prepared to tackle today's urgent sustainability issues. We need increased participation from young people with diverse backgrounds who have the ability to create sustainability solutions that they can bring to any job or industry. However, college students often lack the real-world understanding of practical sustainability, as well as the soft skills employers most seek and are needed to be effective change makers. They need to know how to work with people who think differently from them and how to create practical solutions. And they must possess the professional and interpersonal skills necessary to engage others in problem solving. And these things cannot be learned through coursework alone. As such, U360 is designed to give college students experience in 3 areas that are vital to solving today's complex sustainability challenges and that are not taught in the classroom. The first is career skills, specifically the ones employers most seek, like professionalism, teamwork, communication skills, creative problem solving, strategic thinking, and a strong work ethic. The second is an understanding of practical applied business sustainability. Students leave U360 equipped with an extensive real-world understanding of both business management and how sustainability practices can help a company make money, save money, and reduce risks, in addition to being good for the planet and society. And the third is the ability to work with people who think differently from them. Solving complex challenges, like climate change, requires bringing people to the table with different viewpoints, knowledge, and experience. And U360 teaches college students how to do just that. U360 is a 2-semester experiential education and professional development program. The curriculum begins with 6 weeks of educational workshops and skills trainings focused on business sustainability principles, professional communication, time and project management, interview skills, and professional ethics. For the next 20 weeks, Each student reaches out to approximately 200 small and medium-sized businesses of their choosing to request an interview about their current practices. Each student interviews up to 30 of those businesses and administers Manomet's Small Business Sustainability Assessment of their environmental, social, and governance practices. In the fall, they interview a variety of business types, and in the spring, each student chooses one industry to focus on. After every interview, the business's data are analyzed, and I follow up with the businesses to give them their sustainability scores and access to our online toolkit that they can use to improve their practices. And a significant percentage say it's likely they'll make changes to their practices as a result of that interview. The 6 million small businesses in this country have a large collective environmental footprint, but are often overlooked and underserved when it comes to sustainability efforts. With time, financial, and resource constraints, small businesses have many barriers that can make it challenging to prioritize sustainability. U360 gives them the opportunity to evaluate their overall sustainability, many for the first time, while gaining tools to help them increase the overall health of their business. And for our students, it's this direct engagement with business owners that provides them with the majority of their experiential education and professional development in U360. And then during the last month of the program, each student creates a sustainability action plan for one business they interviewed with customized, highly researched, feasible recommendations for how the business could improve its sustainability practices. But more on that in a bit. Since piloting U360 in January of 2016 with just 3 students from the University of Southern Maine, the program has grown and expanded substantially. Over the past 4 years, 84 students have participated in the program from 14 universities in all 4 New England states. And these students have engaged 953 small businesses from all 50 states. We actually hit that 50-state milestone this year, which we were very excited about. We're also very proud that U360 is helping to foster women business leaders, as over 75% of the students who have participated in the program are female. This year, 14 students enrolled from 10 New England universities. Over the past 2 semesters, 228 small businesses from 42 states had conversations with our students about their current sustainability. The businesses ranged in size from 1 to 1,400 employees and represented countless different types and industries. And here is a fun word cloud illustrating the wide variety of businesses that students talked to over the course of the year. Again, the purpose of U360 is to train and prepare the next generation to tackle the complex sustainabilities that will most impact their futures. As such, the program is focused entirely on giving college students the real-world experience and the personal and professional development they need to be effective change makers. Our U360 students learn firsthand how dozens of different small businesses operate, gain vital career skills and meaningful work experience, see how the principles they're learning in school are applied in the real world, and develop the tools necessary to create a more sustainable world. Most importantly, they learn how to have hard conversations with people who think differently from them, find common ground, and create feasible solutions that make the world a better place. But the students wouldn't be able to achieve the educational or professional development objectives of U360 without the generosity of business owners and other professionals who give their valuable time to the students. People like our esteemed guests today. Each day of competition will have a different panel of judges composed of 2 business or sustainability professionals and 1 U360 finalist from a past competition. I'm pleased to introduce you all now to our panel of judges for today's competition. All right, well, first today on our panel, we have Erica Madison, who is the Assistant Director for Communications at Boston University's Sustainability Office. Erica brings several years of experience in higher education sustainability, government, and environmental advocacy to her work as the first person to fill this role at BU. After serving as a peer educator for the recycling program at UMass Amherst and working in politics, Erica pursued a master's in public administration at Suffolk University. Her advocacy as a student led to an opportunity to work as Suffolk's first recycling coordinator and then campus sustainability coordinator. Erica co-founded the Massachusetts Schools Sustainability Coordinators Roundtable to bring together peers and advance sustainability efforts. She then received her JD from Suffolk University Law School and served for 4 years as one of the state's leading environmental protection lobbyists as a legislative director for the Environmental League of Massachusetts. She currently chairs the board of Mass Bike, the statewide bicycling coalition, and serves on the board of her local Main Streets organization. Thank you for being here, Erica.
Thanks for having me, Laura. Pleased to be here today.
And next we have Katrina Damrell, the Program Manager of Grocery Sustainability here at Manomet. Katrina is the Program Manager for Manomet's Grocery Stewardship Certification Program, or the GSC for short. She has taught GSC trainings for dozens of grocery clients, assessed over 150 grocery stores across the US, coached hundreds of store employees, and analyzed the sustainability data for over 1,000 grocery stores. Her prior experience includes working for an international carbon neutral certification program based in New Zealand, teaching high school students in Indonesia as a US Fulbright scholar, studying parrots in the Bahamas, and working as a marine science lab technician in Maine. She graduated with honors from Connecticut College with a BA in environmental studies. She currently serves on the City of Cambridge's Recycling Advisory Committee, part of the Department of Public Works. Thanks for being here, Katrina. And last, we have our U360 alum representative, Cole Hillis, who was Manomet's Next Generation Scholar in 2019. Cole Hillis participated in the U360 program during the 2018-19 school year, and as I just mentioned, won the 2019 Manomet Next Generation Scholar Award last spring. The time he spent in the U360 program cemented his interests and ideas and made sustainability feel like the only direction to pursue. Originally from Brunswick, Maine, Cole got his bachelor's degree in 2020 from the University of Maine in ecology and environmental sciences, and hopes to use his degree and experiences in Orono to work towards a career improving sustainability issues. Cole also spent this last school year as an alumni assistant for the U360 program. Since graduating in May, Cole has been spending time job searching, enjoying lovely Maine weather, and connecting with family. It's so great to have you back, Cole. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
Okay, so now on to the competition. As I mentioned, each of these students will present their sustainability action plan for one business they interviewed this year. To maintain the confidentiality promised to the businesses, the students will not be specifying the business's name or exact location. They'll give biographical information about the business and then present recommendations to improve its long-term viability, all of which must be highly researched, practical, feasible, and most importantly, beneficial to the business's bottom line. They will also specify the 2 recommendations they see as the highest priorities for the business to implement. These students will demonstrate how strong triple bottom line practices can help a business thrive and prosper in a natural world and business landscape that are rapidly changing, while also attracting, engaging, and retaining talent and customers in the process. Following each presentation, the judges will ask the students questions to challenge their thinking and defend their action plan. The students will be evaluated on their answers to those questions, their presentation skills, and on the quality of their recommendations. They will also be judged on the case they make for how their action plan will benefit the business and increase its resiliency to the external factors most threatening its long-term success. A reminder that even though the students can't see or hear all of you out there watching, you can still cheer them on and applaud them in this virtual space. If you feel so inspired, feel free to use the chat feature to share your support and accolades. But please wait to do so until after the student has finished their Q&A with the judges, so as not to distract them with notifications popping up during their presentation. And if any of you in the audience would like to talk with the presenting students or myself after the event ends, please stick around after my closing remarks and we will enable your audio and video. At that time, the judges will go to a private Zoom space to select a winner who will be named Manomet's Next Generation Scholar for 2020, along with each student who wins on the other 2 days of competition. All 3 winners will be announced and celebrated at our virtual Capstone reception this Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m., and they will each receive a $500 scholarship prize. In addition to announcing our winners, that evening we will also feature our Next Gen Scholar panel discussion with 5 of our past U360 winners who are all out of college now and will share their perspectives on the world today through their eyes. If you haven't yet registered to attend this special event on Thursday, there is a link being posted in the chat box right now where you can register. And the Zoom link you used today to join us won't work for that event, so you'll need to register separately for the reception. Now, before I introduce the first student presenter, I want to say how impressive, passionate, and knowledgeable all of the students are that I had the privilege of working with this year. I'd like you all to take a second and think about yourself at their age and ask yourself, could you have ever called up business owners and interviewed them? And could you have done what they're about to get up here and do today? The confidence and humility they've gained and the personal growth I've witnessed them experience is quite remarkable and incredibly inspiring. Additionally, this is our U360 class who had the last 2 months of college completely upended by the coronavirus. Because U360 has always been an entirely virtual program, our work together really wasn't disrupted much. But as you can imagine, COVID-19 definitely impacted the last few weeks of their outreach and interviews with the small businesses, and the rest of their semester was deeply affected as all of their colleges closed and switched to online learning in mid-March. The level of grace, maturity, understanding, and acceptance I saw in these students, particularly my seniors, as they faced the countless unprecedented challenges that have come with this pandemic was truly amazing. Suffice it to say, I've never felt more confident that we'll all be in incredibly good hands as this generation starts to take the reins. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce you all to Alex Wise. Alex is a senior at University of Vermont, at least she was this past year. She just graduated in May with a degree. Her major was in environmental studies with a green building and community design minor. Alex is originally from Connecticut and is living in Burlington still after graduation. In the spring, she focused on the building and construction industry. And now that she's graduated, she hopes to eventually go back to school for a degree in architecture and urban design. And when I asked Alex why she decided to apply for U360, she said she wanted to gain professional communication skills and learn more about business sustainability. And today, Alex will be presenting her action plan on an insulation contractor from the Northeast.
This business was founded in 1996 and is located in a populous suburban town. They work on residential, commercial, and industrial properties across the entire state and specialize in 4 insulation services, including spray foam, JM Spider, fireproofing, and cellulose. Cellulose insulation is an eco-friendly material and a great energy saver. It's made of 80% recycled content that's produced regionally and recycled on-site. Competition is a major threat to this business. There are 5 other insulation contractors in the same town and 8 others within a 15-mile radius who offer similar services like cellulose at competitive prices. In the US, the average age of skilled laborers is over the age of 50, and for every 5 tradesmen leaving the industry, 1 replaces them. Because of which, this business has a hard time keeping employees past 90 days, and their workforce is made up of anywhere between 5 to 20 people in a given year. This lack of workforce longevity can make them vulnerable in the face of competition, as high turnover rates can negatively affect productivity and cost the business money. This business does not hold meetings, and employees receive feedback on a case-to-case basis. A 2018 Gallup study showed that 85% of employees function below their potential and don't feel engaged at work, causing adverse productivity challenges. To better engage their employees, this business could hold regular meetings and annual performance reviews with its employees. This would come at virtually no cost and is easy to implement. Management would be able to receive valuable employee feedback and build trust through better communication practices. Initial meetings could be held with new hires to go over policies and expectations and to set goals for themselves. In order to continue strengthening relationships with their employees, regular staff meetings could be held quarterly. Performance evaluations are also important in any business to facilitate better working relationships and contribute to professional development. They can set the tone for the year to come, and it gives employees the chance to discuss goals, set new ones, and reflect on the past year. To make it easier for management to stay organized, these evaluations can be held one day per year. This business offers no employee benefits, and paid time off is given only for government-mandated holidays. Since installation is a labor-intensive job, they could benefit from providing health insurance for its employees. Because of their problem with employee retention, the health insurance plan could start 3 months after being hired to incentivize and reward employees for their commitment with the company. In the eyes of employees, a competitive health insurance plan would make this business more attractive against competitors. This business takes diesel trucks to every job site, which contributes greatly to their carbon footprint. Diesel fuel is refined from crude oil and produces many harmful emissions and ground-level pollutants. In 2018, it contributed to 24% of total US carbon emissions from transportation. In order to reduce their environmental impact, this business could switch its fleet to biodiesel. A great benefit of biodiesel is that there is virtually no conversion needed for most conventional diesel vehicles, and it can be used in a variety of applications, including heating and off-road equipment. Switching to biodiesel is a fantastic way to market this business as environmentally friendly. Decaling each truck to advertise their use of biodiesel is a great way to promote their brand and attract new clients. This business is not involved in any charitable giving within their community. In a US consumer survey, about 82% of consumers consider corporate social responsibility when deciding what services or products to buy. Another survey about millennials' work habits concluded that 86% of millennials highly value their company's corporate responsibility programs and said that they would quit if those programs stopped. To better boost visibility and brand awareness, this business could invest in charitable giving opportunities within their community. Some examples of charitable giving are volunteering to do projects for subsidized housing or partnering with nonprofit organizations such as Habitat for Humanity. Studies have proven that employer-sponsored volunteering actually fosters employee collaboration by building bonds and creating leadership opportunities. In addition to team building, boosted visibility can attract new talent with a desire to give back to their community. There can also be financial incentives such as tax breaks, depending on the type of charitable giving that's done. The owner favors residential projects above large-scale commercial projects. This provides an opportunity to advertise to homeowners through networks of energy and building resources. They currently have partnerships with some local construction companies and energy auditors, and their online and mobile website brings them to the forefront of Google searches for installation contractors. There are 2 major energy efficiency consultants in the state who provide directories for homeowners to find valued contractors in their area. This business is not on either directory list, which is potentially diverting a lot of homeowners to their competition. By partnering with businesses that offer resources for property and homeowners, they would have a stronger online presence and create additional ways to be located by new customers. While all of these recommendations will benefit the business, health insurance would ensure a healthier, more committed, and supported workforce. Due to the low employee retention and high turnover rates, it's important for this business to invest in the well-being of its employees. Ensuring that they have the financial support to take care of themselves reduces the business's risk of negatively affecting productivity. Providing benefits would portray this business to be one that cares about the overall well-being of their employees, making them a more desirable place to work. The state government requires all businesses to contribute to a healthcare fund that if they don't insure their employees. Those who do cover their staff's health insurance are exempt from contributing. This means that they're already paying a sum of money each year towards health insurance without reaping any of the benefits. In most cases, small businesses can qualify for a tax credit up to 50% of the total cost of their employees' premiums. By switching their fleet to biodiesel, this business would attract new customers and gain an advantage over their competition while directly reducing their carbon footprint. There's a local biodiesel supplier with 2 pump stations located within the business's service area who offers a flat rate delivery service for greater convenience. The biodiesel offered from the mentioned supplier is B99, which is made of 100% recycled cooking oils sourced from around the Northeast. The retail price for B99 would be $2.09 per gallon if it was delivered to the business, and only $1.99 per gallon at one of their 2 pump stations. Making this transition could benefit the business if they market their environmentally friendly efforts to the public. It can also reduce their risk from the unpredictability of fossil fuel production and prices. Although biodiesel is still costly, the State's Transportation Agency offers grants to local businesses with projects that are focused on reducing emissions from diesel vehicles. State funding for alternative fuel conversion could save this business from any upfront costs. The biggest threat to this business is competition for employees. The lack of workforce longevity can cost the business money and increase risks. It can also worsen the threat of competition for customers because a less productive staff can restrict the quantity and quality of available jobs. By holding regular meetings, conducting performance reviews, and offering benefits, employees will feel valued and supported at work, therefore strengthening the workforce. If this business were to switch from diesel to biodiesel, they could reduce their environmental footprint and advertise accordingly. By building partnerships and fostering relationships with other businesses, this company can gain a greater competitive edge. Thank you.
Well done, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your presentation with us. I wanted to ask about a little bit more about the feasibility. You made a number of good suggestions for how the business can do things like retain employees and so forth, but you know, the measures do come with costs. Could you speak a little bit more to any kind of cost benefit analysis you might have conducted that helped to evaluate how these increased costs from the changes that you recommend would potentially be offset by things like you know, reduced employee turnover and so forth?
If they're to invest in their workforce, which is to come at a cost, and for example, let's say if they have 10 employees because they're having a hard time keeping their staff, by investing in that workforce for, say, like the health insurance plan, which would obviously come at a large cost, they could gain more employees and retain them longer, which could essentially double their staff, which could double the amount of jobs that they do, and in turn make them more money.
So to follow up on that, did you do any kind of assessment of approximately what it costs when the company loses an employee, what it costs basically to replace that person in terms of onboarding them and the learning curve and so forth and so on, to really get more into the details on the potential cost benefit?
I didn't go into what it would cost them in terms of like their turnover rates, but that is definitely something that I could look into. Thank you.
All right, so that was really good. I really liked a lot of the different recommendations you had. They were definitely really creative. I was just curious about your choice to go with the biodiesel over maybe like the charitable giving. That seems like it kind of covers both getting exposure as well as working on that employee retention with the charitable giving, kind of knocking out two birds with one stone, rather than the biodiesel, which is just kind of working on more exposure as well.
Well, in my opinion, the meetings and performance reviews or charitable giving, that could come after they have already advertised to and marketed to new customers and clients. And I think that the next generation of like homeowners is definitely going to be a more environmentally conscious. And I think that they're going to be looking for businesses that claim climate responsibility more than their competition does. So.
Yeah, totally agree. Thank you.
Hi, Alex. Great job on your presentation. I had a question in terms of the insulation material they use. Did you look at what type they used? I bet I suppose this is a little bit out of your scope of the presentation, but I was wondering, since it wasn't listed, was that something that you looked at, like recycled denim? I know it's a material.
So they offer 4 services. The Jam Spider and the Spray Foam are both spray installations. And then the cellulose is their most environmentally friendly, and it's actually made out of recycled newspapers. And out of every installation material, it has the least amount of embodied carbon than any other that's out there right now. So thank you.
Good job.
Okay. The next student who will be presenting is Amanda Sear. Amanda is a junior at University of New Hampshire. She just completed her junior year, and she is a sociology major with double minors in business administration and leadership. Amanda is originally from Maine, and this spring she focused on the sports industry for her industry topic. And after college, she hopes to pursue a career in the environmental or sustainability field. When I asked Amanda why she applied for U360 originally, she said, quote, "I had taken an interest in business and environmental classes, and I knew this internship would be a great opportunity for me to expand my knowledge on sustainability and business operations. I wanted to improve my professional skills by emailing, speaking on the phone, and conducting interviews with business owners from all across the country. I was also very excited to meet students who are interested in learning about the same topics." Today, Amanda will be presenting her action plan about an accounting firm in the Midwest.
This accounting firm was established in 1972. It is located in a large college town with a population of about 50,000 people. They are the largest local firm in this area. There are 14 partners, 85 employees, and 6 total locations, but they always focus on giving clients a personal and professional experience. About 40% of their clients are business owners, followed by sole proprietors and then executives. They also provide audit services for nonprofits. This business supports both internal and external talent development through job training, continued education, and they pay for accounting exams. They also have a strong awareness and knowledge of the regulations within their industry. Currently, this business faces competition. There are about 19 other accounting firms in the same town, competing for both employees and clients. Of the 19, there are 4 to 5 firms that are direct competitors based on similar size and client base. There is one nationwide firm that is competitive due to the large size of their operations. There have been more firms incorporating automated software into their operations. Automation eliminates the use of paper and speeds up production. Firms with this software tend to have an advantage and are more competitive. There has also been an increase in the number of people using at-home accounting software instead of hiring an accountant. People may choose to do their own taxes to avoid sharing financial information and to save money. This decreases the accounting firm's client base. It's probably not surprising that filing taxes requires a lot of paper, which can be wasteful and expensive. The 2 most common uses of paper at this firm are for clients' tax documents and for invoices. On average, each location can generate 700 invoices a month during tax season. When printing other tax documents, one partner can use an average of 2 to 3 reams of paper a day. Because of the large amount of paper being used for all documents, going 100% paperless all at once can be difficult. I recommend they take an incremental approach to going paperless by starting with electronic invoices. This firm already uses automatic software to create invoices, but instead of sending the invoices electronically, they print and mail them to clients. One partner explained the main reason they do this is because they have some older clients who are not as comfortable using online processes. This is why it would be important to help prepare clients by being supportive and answering any questions they might have. Between paper, postage, and envelopes, this firm could save an average of $1,600 per location during tax season. These savings only include the first set of invoices sent. About 25% of clients have to be sent a second statement, and 5% are sent a third statement. On average, clients make payments sooner with automation because of convenience. This means revenue is collected quicker, and there is less time and money spent on sending statements. Switching to electronic invoices would reduce waste, save money, and save time, helping them stay competitive. Lights and computers are not always shut off within this firm, wasting energy and money. I recommend this firm start by having a free audit to see how much energy is being used. Then I suggest focusing on employee behavior, like shutting off lights and computers when not in use. Making employees aware of the amount of energy they use and the ways they can use less energy will save money. Management can incorporate reminders through emails, signs, or even energy-saving competitions between locations. This firm is conveniently located 5 minutes away from a university that has a bachelor's program in accounting and in finance. Since this firm faces workforce challenges like turnover, I recommend they attend the free spring and fall job fairs on campus. This would be an excellent way to reach a large number of students to recruit as employees and to get resumes on file when future job positions open up. Attending job fairs increases the strength of their workforce and can save them money in the job recruiting process, allowing them to stay competitive. One partner at this firm mentioned that their employees would like more feedback. Giving feedback is extremely important for the success of any business, helping with productivity and employee morale. They could start by conducting stay interviews, an annual meeting opposite of a performance review meant to discuss reasons for staying at a business. This can help assess the employee's level of engagement for the work they are doing. This builds trust and understanding and can decrease turnover. It may also be beneficial for this firm to offer more rewards for employees' ideas and efforts. They may choose to incorporate recognition emails or a VIP parking spot. This will help them have a fun, confident, and invested workforce so they can stay competitive. We now live in a world where social media is becoming more common. This firm has done a great job creating a detailed Facebook page, although I recommend they may consider increasing their social media presence on LinkedIn. This is a great resource to create a network and build a professional platform. Businesses can connect with college students on LinkedIn and hire them as employees. This platform will also help them make connections with clients. The 2018 tax reform bill made it easier for small businesses to do their own taxes because of standardized deductions. Since then, it is even more important for this firm to have strong connections with clients so they can continue to help with taxes. Many towns also have local businesses that are downtown district members. Downtown district members have their businesses on a local website. They are given many marketing benefits. One is having their business placed on maps in a local directory. I recommend this business become a downtown district member, especially since there are only 3 other accounting firms who are already members out of the 19 in town. This is a great marketing opportunity for them to attract more clients and to stay competitive. It can be beneficial for this business to send electronic invoices, especially since they already have the software. This would allow them to reduce waste and help them save time and money spent on printing and mailing. Since electronic invoices would only be the first step in reducing paper use, this recommendation can help them in the long run. With automated processes becoming more common within accounting firms, this can allow them to be more competitive in the industry. It is also very important for accounting firms to reach a large number of clients, especially since the 2018 tax reform bill made it easier for small businesses to do their own taxes. With social media becoming more common, it may be beneficial for them to optimize their LinkedIn profile to connect with employees and clients. Also, becoming a downtown district member would give them many marketing benefits so they can reach more clients and stay competitive. This firm has been around for many years, helping the local community with taxes and audits. They face competition with other firms, especially an increase in automated accounting software, and more people are doing their own taxes. By incorporating these recommendations over time, this firm will stay competitive by keeping their workforce strong, saving money, and increasing their client base. Thank you very much.
Great job, Amanda. I thought that was a really strong presentation. I had a question about the recommendation on the college job fairs. Do you know if they have an internship program with the local colleges?
No, they don't have an internship with the local colleges. I know they do some interviews on campus if a student's interested in working there, or they do some interviews through like alumni associations, but I feel like their interaction with campus can be a little stronger, and the job fairs would help them do that, especially with reaching a large amount of students at once.
Yeah, I thought that was a great idea. And the electronic invoices too was remarkable. You said the savings were $1,600 per location?
Yes.
Amazing. Is there an app that they can, like, is there an invoicing app that you recommended, or how far did you go into that recommendation with them?
Yeah, so the good thing about switching to electronic invoices is that they already have the software to do it. So it wouldn't make the transition too difficult. Just instead of printing out the invoices and mailing them, I recommend that they send them electronically to their clients. So they wouldn't need to spend the money on new software, and they wouldn't need to spend money on training their employees on new software because they already know how to use the software they have. So I think that it would definitely be a great first step in reducing their paper use.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are my questions. Good job.
Thank you.
Hi, Amanda. Great job. I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit to the particulars, if you looked into these. Being in communications, I know just how much thought and time it can take to do something like have a robust social media presence, to be continually producing content and engaging and be working on branding. So did you look at all into you know, who would be doing this? Do they have somebody in a communications role? Would the company need to create a new position, or would this be a set of responsibilities that would be added to an existing role? Could you just speak a little bit about how these recommendations could be implemented, such as the communications related recommendations you made?
Yes, absolutely. So they do already have a strong Facebook page with a lot of posts. They keep everyone up to date with that. So there's currently someone that is responsible for that. They do have a LinkedIn page already. They're just not up to date with posts or information. So I do recommend that they would strengthen their LinkedIn page, similar to how strong their Facebook page already is. So it could potentially be a little more work for whoever is responsible for their Facebook page.
And as a follow-up, did you speak with the individual who is already doing their communications or marketing work as you conducted your research?
No, I did not speak with the person that is in charge of their Facebook page. The partner that I did speak with is not in charge of social media at all. So no, I was not able to specifically speak with them, but it would have been great if I was able to do that.
And as another follow-up, did you speak with people who are involved in their employee recruitment and retention? And if so, do you have a sense of why some of the recommendations that you're making haven't already been acted upon in the past?
So I know that I spoke with one of the partners, and the partners do a lot of the like employee hiring, job recruiting process. So they're heavily involved in that. I'm not exactly positive about why they may not be going to like job fairs or something like that. It is possible they may not know about them or know that they're free. Also, I know sometimes the price of job fairs can be a reason businesses may not attend, but that's why I think this is a great opportunity for them, because they are free for the business to attend. So if they do know that, then I think it could be a great option for them.
Okay, thank you. Those are the questions I have. Nicely done.
Thank you.
That was really good. Really interesting presentation. Nice job on that. I just had a question about your recommendation on the energy audit and energy savings behavior. It just seems that with like obviously some of these other ones, they're very clear rewards and benefits to doing these. Did it seem like this was a firm and like with all the locations where even just a simple energy savings behavior would bring big rewards? Did it seem like a wasteful firm and whenever you're interviewing them?
When speaking with the partner I had the interview with, he did mention that the location that he is specifically at needs a little improvement in the energy saving realm of the business. That is why I did recommend this. He mentioned that the lights and computers tend to be left on. Maybe if they're not in the, maybe if they leave a room, the light might be left on. So I thought it could be beneficial for them to inform the employees of the energy being used, and then explain some ways that they can reduce the energy being used. And in turn, I do believe this could save them a good amount of money in the end.
Yeah, definitely. And it seems like a nice fix. Again, really good presentation. That's the only question I have.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, thank you.
Okay, looks like we're all back. So our next presenter will be Autumn Strom. Autumn is a junior at the University of Vermont. She just finished her junior year, and she is a community and international development major. Autumn is originally from Connecticut, and this spring she focused on the wedding industry. And after college, she hopes to pursue a career path as a project developer or nonprofit administrator. And I do want to give an extra shout out to Autumn because she also happens to be the person who set a new record this year for the most number of interviews. She interviewed 29 small businesses, and that was with losing 3 weeks to coronavirus. And she also happened to be the student who checked 2 of the last 3 states off of our list to be able to get us to 50 states this year. So when I asked Autumn why she originally applied for U360, she said, quote, "The main reason I applied for U360 was to have a multidisciplinary learning experience. I wanted to build upon both my business and environmental knowledge. This internship would allow me to create a real-world project that combines both disciplines, which is an opportunity I would not get inside the classroom." And today, Autumn will be presenting her action plan about an assisted living facility in New England.
This assisted living facility has 105 apartments and 85 employees. The facility offers 4 types of care: independent living, assisted living, memory care, and short-term respite. The building is located in a rural setting and has been in operation for the past 10 years. Anyone over the age of 55 can be a resident. Currently, the average age of residents is 88, and individuals range from 70 to 102 years old. The business offers a strong benefit package to its full-time staff, including medical, dental, vision, paid life insurance, and a 401k match. This business is also environmentally sustainable, as the owner considers environmental impacts for all products purchased. Employees are trained to use only approved in-house cleaning agents, and the facility has access to single-stream recycling. An external threat is competition for employees. There are 10 other assisted living facilities within a 30-minute drive. The business needs to find a way to retain trained workers such as nurses, personal aides, dietitians, and physical therapists. The competing facilities, as well as nearby hospitals and medical practices, all have similar staffing needs to this assisted living facility. More so, this business is deeply impacted by coronavirus. The pandemic is most likely to affect people over the age of 55, those in nursing homes, and those with underlying illness. It is a scary situation when most residents have all 3 of these traits. In this country, coronavirus began in a nursing home. Naturally, families and friends of residents and employees are concerned about the physical health and mental well-being of those who live and work in this facility. So many of us are feeling lonely and cut off because of social distancing. This feeling is amplified for residents because many are isolated in order to keep them protected. This unprecedented threat has given the business the opportunity to adapt and thrive. This business could create an online written employee handbook to build upon current verbal training. Employees would be able to reference policies on their own time. This is important as regulations are changing frequently due to coronavirus, and employees need to be informed about new safety protocols before they enter the facility for their next shift. Having written guidelines clarifies expectations between employees and the owner. Transparency fosters workplace trust and improves health and safety for the workers. This recommendation reduces health risks to employees and residents during the pandemic. I recommend a healthcare employee be included in administrative meetings. Websites like Glassdoor and Indeed explain that employees at this facility have expressed the lack of administrative investment and their high rates of turnover. Currently, employees develop only some new solutions, even though they are working 24/7, rather than the administration who is in the building mainly during normal working hours. Employee feedback and collaboration would create more efficient processes. Non-administrative staff would feel valued and heard by having a representative. This would enable the new director to initiate an emerging administration that is built upon cross-departmental collaboration. How many of you have ever felt burned out, even enough to make you resent a position that you love? I'm sure that many of us feel this way, and we're not alone. According to a 2018 Gallup poll, employees surveyed that were dealing with burnout were 2.6 times as likely to be looking for another job. I recommend this business administer some type of system to address stress and emotional health. The intense pressure of coronavirus is taking a toll on the mental and emotional health of essential workers. It is imperative for the business owner to protect their employees' emotional well-being as well as physical. The business could offer support such as the American Medical Association's COVID-19 Impact Survey, a support group, or one-on-one therapy. Addressing emotional health and stress is important because this problem existed before and will exist in the industry after coronavirus is over. Employees often deal with the grief that comes from losing beloved residents. By addressing stress in the workplace, staff would be less likely to burn out and search for a new job with nearby competitors. The business owner shared that this business does not engage in charitable giving. I recommend that this facility host a community blood drive. This event could coincide with the Alzheimer's Association's Longest Day and help raise awareness about dementia-related illness. By holding the drive on site, all staff would be able to participate during their shift. This recommendation would foster employee camaraderie as they get to volunteer in a way that could tangibly affect the clients that they care for. Building relationships supports employee retention. By hosting the drive at the facility, the business could gain exposure to new families who could become future clients. On the business's website, it has no messaging about steps they are taking to combat coronavirus as an essential business. Adding links to resources, up-to-date info, or even a message from the facility's director would reassure family members of residents that mom and dad are protected. Currently, the Facebook page has detailed information about coronavirus precautions, as well as a video of employees and residents. Creating synergy between the sterile website and the personal Facebook would convey a sense of community. This update is important for safety reasons during coronavirus, but after the pandemic, this business will need to continue to attract new clients. Synergy across web presence would show that the business's dedication to preventing the spread of illness is sincere. Prioritizing updating the website would be the ideal improvement to begin with. This has no upfront costs and would be a double-edged sword. On one hand, the business would create synergy with its online presence to update residents and their families during the pandemic. On the other hand, prospective future residents would see that the assisted living facility has a reputation as a safe and transparent home. Next, the business could create an incremental system for addressing emotional stress. Presently, the business could survey staff or implement another low-cost evaluation system to help immediately during coronavirus. Later on, the owner could shift and allocate more resources to help employees' mental health, such as investing in an employee assistance program. Investing in a program such as this may even save the business money in the long term. The new administration would be able to emerge stronger and more invested in their employees by decreasing burnout and turnover. This recommendation would be the maximum impact on employee retention, especially given the chances of a second wave of coronavirus occurring. In order for this essential business to survive a global pandemic, it must be as transparent as possible to all parties, employees, residents, and the community. Implementing these strategies will create synergy to the public-facing aspects of the business, as well as invest in employees whose well-being directly impacts the quality of care that residents receive. By becoming a model of safety, health, and well-being, this assisted living facility will serve as an industry example of excellence. Demonstrating strong leadership in times of stress and uncertainty will allow the business to thrive after the pandemic has passed.
Great job, Autumn. Thank you for sharing your presentation with us. I have a few questions for you. One of them is you made some great recommendations, and I'm curious about the staffing that would be needed to support those. So, for instance, additional, work on the website. That's something that requires being not only updated once, but then maintained. So an ongoing level of attention and work is needed to have a website that's relevant. So I'm curious who you envision would be doing this work and how feasible it is for this organization to sort of step up their website communications. I'll start with that question, and then I have a couple of others.
Thank you for your question, Erica. This business already has a director of marketing and also a director of outreach. So I thought that these two positions would be able to fill in the gaps with the online presence. Currently, the marketing may be more physical, such as pamphlets and flyers. And I think that because of the virtual age we're moving into, the marketing director would just naturally be more, think it'd be more feasible to concentrate their energies on updating the web presence, especially because their Facebook is already so strong and very personal. So they clearly have demonstrated that they have the technological ability to make a new and improved website.
And how about for the employee wellness types of recommendations you're making? Based on your research, do you have a sense of whose responsibility that would be, and if it would require them to bring on an additional staff person, or if this could realistically be done by existing staff?
That's a really good question. I think that because this problem is so big, it would definitely take more than one staff member. I was possibly envisioning the director as well as the individual who's the director of all the medical and nurses on the floor taking charge over something like this. This is because the emotional stress issue is really systemic in the industry, and I think that if the new president took this issue on head first, they would really have shown that they invest a lot in the employees. That's also why I wanted to recommend a stepped version of addressing emotional stress. Even if they don't have a lot of facilities or the ability to hire another person right now to work on this problem, they could always implement, for example, that AMA survey, which is free and would be relatively low maintenance to start, and then could always shift to something like an employee assistance program later on.
Very good. And in terms of the competition, it sounds like you did quite a bit of research. I'm curious, though, how much you looked into whether or not the recommendations that you're making for this specific organization are already being widely used by the competition. Did you have a chance to look into that at all?
I did look into the competition quite a lot. Something I noticed about a lot of the competitive assisted living facilities is they're partnered with a local hospital or medical center, because this assisted living facility is very independent. They may not be able, like you were saying, to have the staffing or the resources to carry out recommendations that other places are doing currently. So that's why I thought it would be best to start with these relatively low cost recommendations and then eventually work their way up so they may be on the same level as a facility that, say, has a partnership with the large regional hospital.
Interesting. Okay, I think those were all of my questions. I appreciated how you provided the sort of, the why, the rationale as you were presenting. I think that was helpful for folks who aren't very well versed in this industry. So job well done. And over to the other judges if they have questions. Thanks.
That was really good. I like how a lot of your recommendations kind of touched on some different aspects. And so I just wanted to talk about the virtual employee handbook type thing. I was just curious how they're handling this issue now, how they're kind of keeping all their employees up to date with everything that's changing so quickly, what their best current version of that handbook would be. Just if that would be, because it seems like switching an entire employee handbook to online and then needing all of your employees to constantly keep up with it is definitely a lot to ask of these employees outside of work hours. But so I was just curious kind of what they have in place right now to see how much of a jump up kind of switching to that type of system might be.
Sure, that's a great question. Thank you. So currently they are, the rules and regulations are all verbal. So when people come in for their shifts, they have a morning debrief, and that's how they get updated. So the thought behind having the virtual handbook could be a little less so a very specific document that's in written form and more of an update with only practical, immediate things that the staff members need to know. I do agree that that would be a lot for employees to go through the entire thing, but I think that just having pertinent updates and information as it comes out from the governor would be most helpful.
Yeah, definitely. But again, that was a really good presentation. Thank you for that answer just then. Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Great job, Autumn. I thought this was another really strong presentation, and it feels particularly pertinent and poignant right now, given everything that we're going through, the pandemic and all of our elderly friends and family at risk. I had a question about the emotional stress. You mentioned that you had kind of a stepped version of what they could do, like low-hanging fruit and more of a strategic investment. Could you elaborate on that? You said the AMA survey is something that their competitors are using right now, or?
Sure. So the AMA survey is a free tool that the AMA came out with to try to assess the current impact on essential workers because of the coronavirus. So that's a little bit less of a solution and more of data and research gathering. So that way, if the business decided to do a survey like this, they could really see what areas their staff members would benefit from. From personal experience, my place of work uses an employee assistance program. And although they vary across the country, that generally, if a business employs this kind of program, their staff members could have access to assessments as well, but also short-term counseling or consultation with managers to address challenges inside the facility. And I thought that this recommendation would be a possible good next step up from the survey. The US Department of Labor reported that for every dollar invested in a program like this, employers generally save anywhere from $5 to $16 a year, just because they're mitigating the mental health of their employees, and they may not need to take so much time off. And some employees may even decide to stay with the company for longer because they feel so supported by their employer.
That's, yeah, another remarkable statistic. That's amazing. Okay, yeah. And was that something that you shared with the business owner in your findings too, or?
I haven't been in contact with the business owner since my initial interview, just because of
the pandemic. Yeah, casual, massive global pandemic that's happening. Yes, that makes sense. I had a question too. Is there, for employee wellness, did you look at like the scheduling of shifts, or was that something that was more detailed that you left off?
So the most detailed information I had from the interview was that a lot of the administration, all of the administration is full-time, and then some of the on-the-floor staffing is full-time and some is part-time. So a lot of the emotional stress kind of falls toward these part-time workers who may be working shifts where they're not in so much contact with the administration. But that's kind of the furthest that I delved into specifically what employees are doing now.
Okay. Okay, and I think my questions about the website and those were covered by Erica, so thanks, Erica, for being on the same wavelength. Thank you. I thought this was really strong, Autumn.
Thank you.
Adam, I did have another question that I just thought of, which is that as you were doing your research, did you come across many opportunities for the organization in terms of their environmental practices? And if so, did those sort of not rise to the same level of importance as some of the other areas that you researched? Could you just speak to that a little bit?
Sure. Even though there was areas that the business could improve, none of the improvements would be cost effective, I believe. Currently, they already have access to single stream recycling. All of their lighting is LED and is on sensors. And they just this past year implemented an irrigation system for their grounds. And they were also thinking about solar panels. So they already have these big budget investments in mind. So I think that the owner has already done the cost benefits analysis and seems very up to date and aware about many different environmental things. So it seems like they're doing as much as they can.
It seems like maybe commuting practices would be something where if they're not already providing incentives and encouraging employees to use sustainable transportation modes, that might be an opportunity to look into. Thank you.
Thank you.
All set.
Bravo.
All right, thank you, Autumn. And our final student presenter today will be Catherine Slayton. Catherine is a sophomore from the University of New Hampshire. She just finished her sophomore year, where she is an environmental science major focused on ecosystems. And Catherine is originally from Atkinson, New Hampshire, and this spring she focused on the hospitality industry, one of the industries that, as you can imagine, was hit pretty hard by coronavirus. And after college, she loves conducting research and publishing articles, and eventually hopes to teach environmental science. And when I asked Catherine why she applied for U360 originally, she said, quote, "I've always been fascinated in how economics influences many environmental policies, decisions, and sustainability. I wanted to explore this with a real-world application and look at the environment from a more well-rounded perspective. I applied for the U360 internship for a chance to work with small business owners, professionals, and students from all over." And today, Catherine will be presenting her action plan about a motel in the Southwest.
The motel is located in a small town with a population of only 68 residents. 3 years ago, the motel was purchased from the previous owner who ran the business for 60 years. During the summer, the motel receives most of its visitors and employs 14 people. In the slower months, only the 2 owners and 1 additional employee work at the motel. This on-season is attributed to increased travel to a nearby national park in the summer. In this town, there is no convenience or grocery stores, but a few businesses similar to the motel. On various travel websites, this motel is advertised as the hotel in town, and the restaurant also has the best online reviews in the area. Both appear on a number of travel websites. Their website is well designed and mobile friendly. It includes important information and some updates. The motel also operates a seasonal restaurant that brings in additional income. The restaurant has a competitive advantage since its menu is unique to the area. In light of the coronavirus pandemic, motels have faced many obstacles in the form of restrictions. Current data shows that 8 in 10 hotel rooms remain empty and projects a 50% reduction in revenue for 2020. Typically, this summer would be the area's busiest time of year and when this motel would receive the most business. The National Park has received over 80,000 visitors yearly for over 30 years. It closed at the beginning of the pandemic and is now in the process of a 3-phased reopening. Currently, access is restricted and tours are canceled, so travelers need another reason to visit and stay at the motel. Coronavirus is threatening their ability to make money as well as increasing risks. Because of this, the motel is relying on healthy customers staying there and restricted restaurant sales. Prior to and persisting during Corona, this motel has faced the threat of competition for customers. In the town, there are 4 other motels, as well as bed and breakfasts and 1 restaurant. Some of these locations also offer RV parking for road trip travelers. In the area, there are also a handful of Airbnbs, as well as the ability to camp in the national park. The threat of competition is increasing risk for the motel. With a variety of options for people to stay the night and eat, it is important that the motel maintain a competitive advantage in order to acquire and retain customers. Since there are a small number of people living in the area, each alternative option threatens the motel, increasing the chance a customer might spend their money somewhere else. Currently, the only way for visitors to book with the motel is directly on their website. When travelers are looking for somewhere to stay, they often use convenient sites such as hotels.com in order to compare their options. Hotels and motels not listed on these sites are excluded from these customers. I recommend that the motel join various online booking websites in order to increase their visible exposure to travelers. The inn would have a better edge on competition by increasing internet presence, allowing them to reach more potential customers. Hotels.com is free to join, however, business owners pay a compensation fee when users book on the site. By listing on these sites, the business would make more money by gaining customers and increasing convenience. The motel has done an excellent job keeping their customers up to speed on their operations during Corona. They're communicating their actions and precautions to protect people on their Facebook site. They have posted their 3-phase plan for opening back up. The inn is currently receiving healthy guests, and the restaurant is offering takeout and outdoor seating on limited business hours. Unfortunately, because of these precautions and public fear, business is slower. I recommend that the restaurant hold a fundraiser for COVID research or relief efforts in order to make money by bringing in more business. If they host a promotion where a portion of profits from the restaurant were donated, they would promote a community connection supporting their local healthcare workers. A fundraiser has the potential to introduce new customers to the restaurant and encourage people to spend their money somewhere that makes them feel good. The motel has an existing garden on campus, and the owner expressed that they would like to utilize this garden more as a source of food for the restaurant. By growing certain crops on their own, the need to purchase would be reduced, so they would be able to save money on products. This gives the food a smaller carbon footprint by reducing its travel. I recommend that they take more advantage of the garden in order to save money. Once the owners have enough produce, they could also advertise parts of their food as homegrown, attracting certain customers. Studies have even found that customers are willing to pay more for eco-friendly dining. The owners could grow crops in composted food waste, which would reduce their waste and benefit the crops. While the motel employees receive many benefits, paid time off is not included. When paid time off is given to employees, it reduces risk by improving employee retention and productivity. I recommend that the motel introduce paid time off for all of their employees. While this would initially increase costs, offering paid time off would reduce potential unexpected costs of workforce challenges, as well as costs of hiring new employees and training them. If one paid day off was offered to start and an additional day each year an employee stays, it will improve retention stability as well as employee satisfaction. The business does not currently have a plan in place to monitor their energy. While they practice habits such as shutting lights off, the business could lose a lot of money from extra energy usage. I recommend that the motel have an energy audit in order to see where they are losing money. By assessing energy usage, they'd be able to see where their building is inevitably wasting energy. This knowledge would give the business owners a variety of options for saving money on their bill. This would reduce resource consumption, improving their environmental sustainability. Since there are no additional upfront costs, implementing a COVID fundraiser as soon as possible would be a feasible way to pick up business quickly. This would promote a community connection that many people need today. By allowing people's dollars to count towards something important, they are more likely to spend money. If this was occurring regularly, the restaurant could make a real difference and increase their income. This motel would benefit greatly from the fundraiser since they are creating a reason for nearby potential customers to come in, since the amount of non-local visitors has dropped significantly. Prioritizing an energy audit has the potential to save the business a lot of money quickly. There are many energy costs that they might have no idea that they are paying for, especially since it is not regularly monitored. In the state, there are free online and in-person assessments and assistance programs. In a business where a lot of the electricity is controlled by their customers, it's important that energy not be wasted in other places. This is a quick way for them to cut costs on energy, which is important if they are at risk of making less money this summer. At present, the biggest threat facing the motel is coronavirus. There have been many social and legal changes affecting the profitability of the business. By adopting my recommendations, the business can save money, reduce risks, and make money. This business will be stronger and more resilient, such as the current pandemic, by improving sustainability practices. Thank you.
Nicely done. I was particularly interested in the idea of tapping into the potential of the garden, and I'm wondering how much you delved into what it would take to make that into something that would be more productive for the business, and what the cost benefit would be, basically looking at how much they could potentially save by growing certain things as opposed to buying them, and then what the staff requirements would be for managing the garden. Could you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. So I know a lot of times this might not be profitable, so it needs to be done definitely in the correct way. And seeing as the owner's already utilizing the garden a little bit, I can tell that they have the interest and the feasibility to be able to continue doing so. And as far as staffing, since there is a lot less going on in the motel, they have the extra staff to be able to handle these sorts of things. And a lot of the crops that they would be able to grow would be low maintenance crops anyways. And they had mentioned that they even think about the time of day in which they're going to water the plants, just to make sure they're not using any extra resources. And this way they can also control how much of each crop they want so they can reduce waste. Thank you.
Interesting, thanks. A couple more questions. One is, I'm curious how you chose this industry or this particular business.
So I chose the travel and tourism industry because it's something that I've always been interested in doing, and I know a lot of people are interested in it. And in my classes, I've learned various ways to make traveling more eco-friendly and how it can actually benefit the environment. So that's kind of why I chose this industry, and I chose this specific business because it was very specific to me. Since it was in such a small area, there's a lot of different types of challenges and factors that have to be taken into account for any of the recommendations, any of the problems, anything. And it seemed to affect a lot of their operations, so I wanted to see what I could do with that.
Thank you. And I think my last couple of questions, curious to hear a little bit more detail about the the fundraiser and the energy audit, since those were your top recommendations, do you have any sense from the research that you conducted about what potential they might have to save through the energy audit, or what level of interest there might be in terms of the fundraiser idea?
Yeah, so to talk about the energy audit first, a lot of studies have found that when they do the energy audit, if they put all the of those in place, then they have been there's an average savings of 26% of all energy. So that's if they take all the recommendations and they put them into use, or at least the majority of them. And so if they have these energy audits, they're able to identify ways to save over 50% of their electricity usage. And in businesses like hotels and motels, a lot of the electricity is from lighting and temperature control, which is, in the summer, they're going to be using a lot, especially. And so to have these sorts of things to rely on to be able to look at and see where they can save money, it will definitely benefit them anytime also. And for about the coronavirus fundraiser, they have done small fundraisers before with local fundraisers. And so they have had that experience of getting the word out there, finding profitability within having this fundraiser, and they know how to get people in for it.
Great, thank you. Nice job, Catherine. Those are all my questions.
Hi, that was a really good presentation. Really liked all the recommendations. It's always interesting whenever you started with the size of the town. I was really interested to hear the rest of the presentation. And so I was hoping you could just kind of talk about why maybe you didn't choose the use of booking sites, just because it seems like now a time, really small town place, things are starting to open back up. It seems that using booking sites and kind of getting your name out there would be helpful, and maybe even more helpful than for a small business that may be struggling than if it were to do a fundraiser or an energy audit or something like that.
Yeah, thank you. So that's definitely something I considered. However, when I weighed out all my options and I thought about it, a lot of people are attracted to the area rather than the specific hotel. So if they're coming to this area, if they're going to stay at the hotel, they're probably already going to stay in the area. So then it brings it down to the options in the area. And so hotels.com, I think a lot of times people can choose different areas and they can compare a lot of different options. And since there's not a lot of different options, I still wanted to be able to get the word out there. And that's why I chose the recommendation in the first place. But I didn't feel it was as important to prioritize it just because of that. And if they're going to look up the area anyways, this is the first motel that will show up.
I think that makes sense. Thank you. And
Thank you.
again, really good presentation. Nice job.
Thanks.
Yeah, I echo the other judges here. It's a great presentation, and 68 people year-round in this town. That's also pretty unique. I had a question, thinking about the garden and the energy audit and tourists being willing to pay more for serving those businesses. Did you look into whether or not like a sustainable tourism certification or sustainable restaurant certification or any sort of local chamber of commerce that would be promoting that kind of aspect? Was that something that you were looking at in terms of marketability?
I didn't look super into that, but they do have a lot in the area. If you follow all the certifications to make the food that's grown organic, then that will be advertised on various websites, especially websites for people that are specifically looking for restaurants that carry these type of options and not just regular travel websites. So if they could do that, then they would be advertised on those websites. And there is Chamber of Commerce and things like that in the area. And so they would definitely be able to advertise it on those as well.
Okay. And for the energy practices, did you give them any recommendations yourself in terms of like doing lighting sensors, installing lighting sensors, or turning or unplugging mini fridges when it's a low season?
Yeah, so I hadn't specifically mentioned that yet, but if I were to tell them to do stuff like this, since they have the restaurant, I think that's a lot of energy usage there, especially since the hotel rooms aren't being used as much. And since those aren't, I think all of the electricity there should, not all of it, but a lot of it should be shut down or lowered so they can save their money there. And now that they're not doing dine-in, or they're not allowed to, they can definitely save energy lighting and temperature there as well.
Is there any way for them, with the national park nearby, is there any way to collaborate with the national park and advertise to the campers or people visiting the park at the end of the day when you have done that 10-mile hike and you want to treat yourself to a nice meal? Can they do that, like safely, a nice takeout meal?
Yeah, so they are doing takeout, and right on the website for the national park, they do have recommendations in the area for places to stay, places to eat, things to do. And that is actually where I got the information that they call the motel the hotel in town. That is right there on the national park website. So they definitely get a lot of advertising from that. And yeah.
Okay, yeah. So perhaps, like you said, for not having the hotels.com or booking sites as your recommendation, prioritized recommendation, is perhaps because they are so prominently advertised and reputable on the national park.
Yes, I think most of the competition between the businesses is obviously strong. And it's also, though, about getting the visitors there. So once the visitors already want to visit that area, where are they going to stay?
Mm-hmm. And then I really liked your idea of the garden. Is there any synergy potential between the restaurant generating compost for the garden, or that kind of collaboration?
Yeah, so they had actually talked about in our interview, they do a little bit of composting with their food waste, but they already do try and minimize their food waste a lot with staff meals. However, I did mention that they should use, or they might want to use the compost to help the crops, especially since that will make crops healthier, stronger, and a larger yield.
And is that an option too for guests staying? Like when they're, I guess the restaurant normally would be sit down, but in normal times, do they have like continental breakfast, or how does that work? Is there compost or recycling opportunities for guests?
There's not. So the town actually doesn't have recycling just because it's so small and they have to go very far to be able to do recycling. So that's something that's not actually very feasible for them. They do it every once in a while. And as far as composting for the guests, I think that might be a little bit more tricky because it's easier for the owners to understand what can be composted and what can't be. But to explain to all the customers, it might just not be worth it. Because if they have to get rid of everything because of one thing.
Awesome. I think that's it. And I really like the idea of a fundraiser. I think that's a great way, like you said, to bring the community together right now.
Thank you.
Good job. Yay.
All right, well, we have already gotten started on a big round of applause for all four of our amazing presenters. Great job, everybody. And I want to say a huge thank you to our three Excellent judges. Thank you, Erica, Cole, and Katrina. Your part in all of this is invaluable, and we just really appreciate you taking the time to be with us here today. So I just want to lastly thank all of you for attending and coming to cheer on our students and see this culminating event of the year. If you want more of these presentations, you're in luck. We have more coming up tomorrow and Thursday at noon. So the link that you use to come to the event today, you can use again tomorrow to see the students from Maine competing. And then on Thursday, you could see the students from Massachusetts competing. And again, you can pop in and out as you would like, just like you were able to do today. And then lastly, I just wanted to remind everybody that on Thursday, we are holding a special reception where we'll be announcing the winners from each day. I don't envy the judges at all having to make this decision, but alas, they will choose a winner from today's presenters, and on Thursday from 4 to 5 over Zoom, we'll be announcing those winners, and then also featuring our Next Gen Scholar panel that will be composed of 5 of our past U360 winners sharing their perspective on the world today. And you do have to register for that separately. So my colleague will be adding the link to the chat box here in a second, where you can, right there, look at that, popped right up, where you can register to attend the reception on Thursday. And at this time, the judges will be leaving us to go to a private Zoom space to deliberate and make this hard decision. And if any of you in the audience would like to talk with the students or with myself, please stick around and we can enable your video and audio so you can actually talk to the students, and hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow or the next day. Thank you all so much for coming, and let's do one last round of applause for these amazing students.
Congratulations.
Great work, everyone. Best wishes.